Hey guys, it's Rudar here, and today we're going to go over how to beat Assa Rogues in Season 4 Dragonflight. Now, a lot of people think that Assa Rogues are super strong, but as a Boomy, you're actually pretty good into them, surprisingly, in Dragonflight. So I'll show you guys how to play around them and how to win. So we're going to go over two games. The first game is going to be like a 2400 Gladiator range game. Um, and then the next game we're going to be fighting Nesper, which is like arguably the best Assa Rogue in the game. We don't beat Nesper, but we get really close, and I'm playing with people who are like 2100, and we're way above our CR. I was helping them get some rating. So we'll go over this game first, and then we'll take a look at the other one. So let's take a look at talents. We are playing D-Curse because we're fighting a Warlock here. So we're going D-Curse. What we're mostly looking to do is spread out. Like, the comp we're fighting is actually decent into ours, but we can counter it if we spread out. If we don't allow the Assa Rogue to double growth the healer and me, then it becomes really hard for them to win. So you'll see how we prevent this throughout the whole game. So in the opener, we're just tagging combat. The opener doesn't really matter that much. There is a Havoc out. I can't quite see it. Okay, so our Resto Druid gets the Havoc. That's good. So we let the Rogue run over to me. They're often going to run over to you and try to put bleeds on you. You're just going to bash clone them right away. We want to put the Rogue really far behind. We want to make sure the Rogue doesn't do anything. So look where I go. I use the clone to move away from the Rogue. So I'm all the way over here by the healer. Like, look where I am. This is, look where my healer is, and look where I am. This is how you counter Assa Rogue. You stand really far away from each other, as far as you can, and as long as you have Trinket and Skin available, you can do this, and they won't get that much momentum. If they do like a really good swap onto you, you can still get out of it just fine. So here, we're just spam casting damage with our Incarn, spam wrathing and surging, and you can just look at the details right now. Look at the damage meters. We are really far ahead. Like, so far ahead. So the Rogue tries to get to me, and then he goes to our Rogue. So once he goes to our Rogue, I'm going to go across the map and get away from him again. So I'm like 24/7, 40 yards away from the other Rogue. I don't let him touch me at all. I make it really hard for him to touch me. And if he does, it's going to cost him all his mobility. So we're going to throw thorns onto our Rogue while he's deep in there, and then we're going to kite that Rogue. So now he has to hit into thorns if he wants to hit anybody. So see how the enemy Rogue is just like literally doing nothing. And you can even see this guy. I think he has 2/4 enchants on his daggers. You see that? That guy's like a 2/4 at least player. Look what he's doing. See, he's got the enchants. He's got those. But you see how we're standing so far back in the whole game. We don't let him get close to us, and he finally step growths our healer, and then I root him so he can't get the growths onto our Rogue. Every time he uses Vanish or every time he uses Dance, we're gonna root him, we're gonna bash him, we're gonna Typhoon him, we're gonna distance ourselves from him. We're gonna make it really hard for him to do anything. So we decurse the Havoc. I was gonna Shadow Meld that coil, but it actually got the stun on me a bit quicker than I thought it would. So we kill the Observer, throw a Star Surge at it. And then just look at details right now. Just look at the damage meters. Like, the enemy Rogue has done nothing because his game plan is to kill me and our healer. But look where I'm standing compared to our healer. I'm standing so far away. And since our healer's a Resto Druid, he can just move wherever he wants. So I can line him pretty hard and he can get to me fairly quickly. So the Rogue finally gets uptime on me, and then I put Thorns on myself and I Fury of Lunum. And then I bash 2 off the cheap shot DR. So I could skin this. Maybe I don't because we're really so far ahead. He has to ramp his damage by so much. It wouldn't be bad to skin here. Yeah, we're just doing some damage on him. And I just Cyclone him here. He has full hots. I clone him. And I'm going to use that Cyclone to move my character away from him. So he has to use like another Shadow Step or some kind of mobility to get back to me. So I'm going to look over, stop his re-stealth. I'm just going to root him. So yeah, he's just going to chill there. Notice how I'm line of sighting the rogue too. I'm lining his step. I'm making it really hard. So right here is the first time our healer and I are stacked up, but fairly confident that the rogue can't get to us because we're line of sighting him right now. And we're just spamming damage. We're just staying far and spamming damage. If you try to play in, you try to play for CC, if you try to win the game into an Assa Rogue, you're probably not playing it right. You're going to get completely owned. Completely owned. Like if you're fighting an Assa Rogue, you just got to relax, spread out, maximize your damage, and they're going to fall apart. Yeah, just look at the meters right now. Like the the rogue can't do anything. Now he's running back to his healer to get a re-stealth. It's looking really bad for them. We are actually losing on mana somehow, but I think this healer is a little bit inexperienced, so and he might not have as much mastery gear as this other guy. But we should be winning mana by a long shot. Maybe they drink. Maybe that other healer drank at one point. But it doesn't really matter if they drink. You don't even care to stop it. You just do maximum damage, force their cooldowns, force them to stop drinking by just killing their teammates. So here, I want to point out one thing. So in this situation, the Warlock has no trinket. I see my Rogue has Dance up. And I also have Incarn rolling. So I'm in the point where I have my maximum ramp. I'm Wrath Surging. I have a lot of Astral Power. I have a lot of damage that I can do to this guy. So I'm going to beam over his kidney shot to prevent the Warlock from using his wall. Because this is like a perfect scenario for the Warlock to use his wall, so I'm going to deny this. And that's going to put some confusion on the enemy team. The Ardruid would have to bark when usually the Warlock would just wall. So he still can't wall, he's silenced, he's corroded right now. He can finally wall, but he just dies. So yeah, make sure you use beam a lot, not just to interrupt, but use it to prevent defensive cooldowns. And as you can see, like we made this Assa Rogue look like a complete fool, but he probably played it just fine. Yeah, so that's like around a nearly gladiator range game, a little bit lower, but we'll show you guys a higher rated game. So let's go over to this one. So this one we don't win, but we should have won. Like we're winning the whole game. It's just like they did an awkward cheese go as RMP and they won the game. But I think with a more experienced DH and healer, we would probably never we wouldn't lose. We would win pretty hard. I think this is 2x speed. Oh no, this is normal speed. This is normal speed. I'm used to Kata Arena, so like normal speed Arena is actually so fast. Okay. Yeah, half speed retail is actually the normal speed for Kata. So I'm playing with Prez, and when you play with a Prez Evoker, you usually have to stay somewhat closer together, and that's going to be really good for the Assa Rogue. So here, as you can see, I look for the Bash Clone again. I Bash Clone the Assa Rogue, we're hitting the Mage. I also beam the MD, so he's locked out on Holy, and we can kill the Mage. But the Mage did a really nice Shadow Meld there. Protected probably his cop block. And we can see the Rogue, we root him in the back. After we clone him, we usually walk away from him, and then we root him. And he got slept too. The Rogue is really sad right now. And we clone him again. Like this Rogue, we just want to make sure he can't do anything. And this is Nesper, this Control D guy. This Rogue is insane. This Priest is really good. This Mage is really good. This is like all multi rank 1 tournament player team. Like this is an insane team we're fighting. And I'm just playing with like LFG guys. I think these guys, what rating were they? I think they're like, I think they're somewhere around Duelist or maybe 2-4. I don't know. It's about the same range, but we're fighting way better players here. But as you can see, we're using Typhoon. Like Typhoon's on cooldown, Wildchar's on cooldown, Bash is on cooldown, Root's on cooldown, Beam's on cooldown. We're using all of our utility spells to prevent the priest from dispelling his rogue, and also to get the rogue away from us. So see how the rogue is standing in between us, like fanning? He's like fanning and bleeding, fanning and bleeding. This is what the really good Assa rogues do when we like even stack up a little bit. So we're trying to like watch how I move. I'm just getting away from him. I'm trying to prevent the fan bleeds, because the fan bleeds are how they get really far ahead. And that also keeps mortal strikes on all of us, which is really scary. So even we're hitting the priest too. Like we're hitting anything. It doesn't really matter who we hit. We just need to maximize damage and slow the game down. Just get the rogue to not be able to play. So again, look, this little buff right here. This is his subterfuge, I believe. Or no, this isn't his subterfuge. It's right here. It's this buff. But it's the same thing. It's the same cooldown. You'll see this every time subterfuge is up. And every time you see this, we're just gonna root it and we're gonna walk away, or bash it and walk away, or we'll try to like clone it. Because we don't want them. If they get the Garrote silences when they use Vanish or they use Shadow Dance, that is like so much more damage. Like the Garrote silence does so much damage, it's crazy. So here, I I think a new Boomy would walk in and try to cyclone the mage, but that would actually be a really bad play. You could turn the tide of the game into the enemy team's favor if you walked in and tried to clone the mage right here. You want to stay back, maximize damage. Play to win, you die. Play to peel too much, you also probably die. The best way to peel is usually just through high damage. And I actually want to show you guys real quick. Let me show you guys my check PvP. Let me show you guys the gear I'm wearing. Let's see here. I'll show you guys the gear I'm wearing. So I play a gear set that's really good for counter pressuring. It's not as good for W keying in and spam cloning. I still clone quite a bit, but it's very selective. It's very selective and opportunistic. So if we go to gear, I'm playing 3,700 mastery, and I'm actually playing fairly low verse. Scaled in PvP, it's like 32%. But I'm playing a high haste, medium mastery, and then like medium verse, medium mastery. Like I'm playing a little bit less verse for a lot more mastery. And what this is going to do is it's going to avoid stat DRs, and it's going to increase my damage by like 30%. Like I'll take probably 10% more damage, but I'm going to deal 30% more back. So I think that trade is worth it to me, especially how I play arenas and how the meta is. I think, and especially into Assa rogues, you don't want to W key in. That's usually really bad unless you have like a rogue on your team, or like sometimes when you have a DH on your team, you can do that, but with a Prez, definitely not. You would get triple garroted and killed. So this is actually really good into the current meta, playing a bit more mastery, doing higher damage. So let's get back into this game. So yeah, we're just staying back. I have a bit more mastery, so that's why when I cast my Wraths, I cast my Surges, and I get my distance, it's a lot of damage, and it's really scary for the enemy team. So see, we wild charge off cooldown. We're staying far back. And we're throwing Free Evolute on the rogue. It could be on the mage, it could be on the priest. It does not matter who you hit. It matters that you're top damage every game. You want to be top damage almost every single game. The only team I can't really get top damage into is like Ret DH. I can still beat him, but I won't be top damage into Ret DH. Just because they have a lot of mobility with freedoms and gap closers and range damage from Rets. It's really hard to like just stand there and pump because they just hit harder, so you have to kite a lot. Use a lot of globals on kiting. But yeah, like anything else, anything that's not Ret DH, you should be top damage, I would say, for the most part. I don't think anything beats you. But it's going to be slightly difficult to be top damage if you don't have enough mastery. Sometimes, like, try a little mastery and you actually might like it in your games. I think it's pretty good. So yeah, we're just staying back. We're hitting the mage. We're hitting the priest. We're dotting him up. And notice how I'm like lining the rogue a little bit too. I'm like, I guess maybe not that much. I'm just hitting him. But yeah, we send Incarn all the way through. Okay, they're doing a go here. I go for the Cyclone. We Cyclone the Rogue on a Sing. We notice how we cast another Cyclone there. So let's see here. So right here, the Mage busts. The Rogue presses Shadow Dance. Okay, so like, look at this setup here. The Mage is busting. This guy's Shadow Dancing. This guy's kidneyed still for a long time. No trinket. So this guy easily could die if he has no trinket to just the bust alone. And I'm not in a position to stop the bust. It's actually better for me to line of sight the mage and clone the rogue than it is for me to go and clone the mage, because the mage will just CS me or the priest will chastise me. So it's actually best I stay back and just clone the rogue here. But our healers are blind. Like, they have an insanely powerful go here. So, and they could probably win in this go. So when I clone the rogue, I instantly start casting another one, because the rogue has dance up, and I know he has trinket available. So he'll trinket aggro, and he'll go for the kill. So that's how you know you can predict a trinket. If they're using like all their offensive cooldowns and they have a lot of CC on your team, usually cloning twice will clone them right on their trinket, and they'll stop a lot of the go. If you wait and if you wait for the trinket and then you clone, then they might like step kick you. They'll have a lot more time to react. But if you clone right away, instantly on their trinket, usually they don't like step kick or do anything. It's really hard to like do that fast. So the priest goes out. This is like our first cyclone on the priest, first or second cyclone on the priest. And it's just like when the priest goes for an offensive play, we're just going to punish it right away with a cyclone. Because now look at their DPS. They're just AFK. They can't play because their healer's in a clone. And yeah, we're just hitting the rogue. We go for a clone here on the rogue because he has that subterfuge. He just vanished right there. So we're just slowing down. Whenever the rogue has subterfuge, we're gonna CC him every single time. And we're also playing these games out of voice. This is like, I think, around glad range and out of voice, and we're fighting like some of the best players like on the ladder. Like, these guys are really good. But you can see that we're actually not struggling that hard. And I think if we were to run in, spam CC, we would die really fast. Like, this rogue knows how to do like 300k DPS. Like, he could be doing 300k DPS, and that's why Assa is so broken, but we are not allowing that, because maybe if we're below 2000 rating, we could play in and play for CC and win the game quick. But any players above 2k rating, usually that's like a really risky play. It's like the odds that the rogue knows how to do damage will just completely farm your whole team. Like, he'll solo your entire team in this patch. But yeah, see, the rogue gets to me, and then the rogue's kind of like in limbo here. He's like in between throwing daggers. Like, he can't actually do much damage, because every time he connects to me, I punish him with like a Typhoon Wild Charge, or like I bash clone him. I make it really punishing if he wants to go and attack me. And then if he doesn't go attack me, I can just Cyclone him on his CDs. So it's really hard for him to win the game. Very, very hard. Like, this rogue's doing a lot of just AFK because of the CC I have and utility spells and positioning. Okay, so I think this is the go we lose, but we shouldn't lose here. I probably could have pre-cloned, but we'll see how this plays out. Like, if we just take a look real quick, look at their team. Let's look at mana. Let's look at trinkets. Look at our team. Let's look at mana. Let's look at trinkets. Like, we should win this game. We look at details. We should win this game by a mile, but they just have like a really awkward go here where they end up actually winning. But there's like not really a way I could peel it very much. It's just kind of awkward. So our DS does have trinket. They smoke bomb him. Our healer gets chastised. So instantly, I see that this is like a game-winning go. They bust in a bomb, no trinket. And so I instantly root beam the mage to peel. I Typhoon the rogue. I quarter bash. I mean, I don't have wild charge. I could stamping roar over to like maybe bash the mage. I probably could have stamping to bash the mage, but I also could have just got cheaped by the rogue. So yeah, we just die. I don't. Did they get something off the chastise on our priest on our guy? I don't know. But yeah, they just had an insane. Yeah, combust must just hit pretty hard now. Yeah, so they chastise. A 3 second chastise. We finally, yeah. We probably have to trinket that chastise right away, get in the bomb and time dilation, and we'd be okay. We'd probably win this game. But yeah, that's basically we. That's basically how you fight an Assa Rogue. You spread out, you CC them, you use your utility to get distance. You constantly punish their damage. And yeah, that's basically it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.